Hare Krishna. I'd like to welcome all of you back to our Gita classes. So, today we are going to be discussing a very interesting and a very important topic for all of us. And this topic is something that impacts our day to day life. In the Gita, Krishna says, Prakrite kriyamanani gune karmani sarvashah ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. So, this verse, Krishna is telling Arjun that the spirit soul, bewildered by the influence of false ego, thinks himself to be the doer of activities which are in actuality carried out by the three modes of material nature. So now this three modes is a very puzzling and a very confusing topic of the Gita. The Gita has primarily five very important topics it talks about. It talks about Jiva, which is all of us, the living entity. It talks about Prakriti, which is material nature. It talks about Kala, which is time factor. Karma, which is actions. And Ishvara, which is God. So now, of these five, the topic that we are going to be focusing on is Prakriti today. Now, what exactly is Prakriti and how do we understand it in a very practical, easy to understand and something that we can apply in our daily lives? That's what we're going to be discussing today. There's a very beautiful quote that says, wealthy are those who don't necessarily have the most, but who need the least. Now, what is the meaning of this sentence? Wealthy are not the ones that have the most, but need the least. There are many ways to live life, isn't it? The question is, whatever life you're living, whatever your lifestyle is, does it bring you satisfaction and contentment? That's the question that Gita is trying to push us towards. Because in reality, satisfaction and contentment are the most prized possessions in this world. Somebody may have billions of rupees, but may not be satisfied at all. Somebody may have a few lakhs, may be completely satisfied. Now you can look at your own lifestyles and you can look at people around you, isn't it? You might be insecure after having 7-8 crores in your bank. And somebody who is like having 5,000-6,000, you might be like really peaceful in life, isn't it? And you're wondering how this guy who has few thousand rupees in his bank is going to be peaceful. That's what the game of modes is all about, right? Three modes of material nature. It really determines who you are, what your psychophysical conditioning and nature is. And that's what we're going to be studying today. So through this session, we are trying to be doing three things. First, recalibrate our desires. Second, reflect on our decisions. And third, reposition our destiny. So the way the three modes act are in such a way that practically every single decision of your life is based on which mode you are in. And practically all the desires that we have in our hearts are all based on which mode we are in. And the destiny where we are going to reach is also based on what mode we are in. So today we're just going to try to understand the three modes and how they work in our life in such a way that we can actually make good decisions in life, that we can actually choose the right kind of desires in our life, and also decide what is our destination. So the whole idea of the three modes comes from something very simple. It comes from the fact that the living entity is tatasta. Tatasta means it is somewhere in between. So there are three types of natures. There is para prakriti, which is superior nature, which is what Krishna is, God, is called para prakriti. He is very, very superior. And then there is apara prakriti, which is inferior nature. And between the two is called tatasta prakriti. Tatasta prakriti means marginal. So all of us fall in something called tatasta. Just to understand what tatasta is, just like if you are on the shore of an ocean, um, the water comes in and the water goes out. So you are standing on the shores. When the water comes in, it's water, and when the water resides, it is land. So you are standing in water and at the same time on land, somewhere in between. That is called tatasta. All of us are tatasta in the sense we can choose to be a part of para, or we can choose to be a part of apara. We can choose to be divine, we can choose to be demonic. Now ask yourself, are you divine or are you demonic? It depends on who you interact with, right? Some people will be convinced that you are demonic, and some people will be convinced that you are a divine person, isn't it? Now, are you actually divine or are you actually demonic? That's the question that you can't answer, because it depends on when you see us. If somebody sees you early in the morning, you might seem to be a very divine person. When the same person sees you late in the night, you might seem to be a very demonic person. If somebody sees you in a temple, you might seem to be a very divine person. If the same person sees you in a pub, you might seem to be a very demonic person. If somebody sees you, wearing Indian traditional clothes, you might seem to be a very divine person. Somebody sees you wearing Western, ekdam hip type of clothes, you will say, "Arey, I thought this person was divine. Doesn't seem like." So it depends on where you are and whom you are with. If somebody sees you in India, you might seem divine. But the same person sees you in another country, you might seem demonic, isn't it? So the whole idea of divine and demoniac, it depends a lot on the three modes. That's why para, apara, and in between is tatasta. We can choose para prakriti or we can choose apara prakriti. Every single decision you make in your life, what time you sleep, which holiday destination you go to, what clothes you wear, what kind of friends you have, what kind of music you hear, what kind of movies you watch, what kind of food you eat, what kind of jobs you do. Every single important factor in your life, it governs whether you're moving towards para prakriti or you're moving towards apara prakriti. And we, knowingly or unknowingly, we're either oscillating between para and apara prakriti. You know, um, we are moving towards apara prakriti, and then suddenly we get a call, Gita classes on this date. And suddenly we realize, oh my God, I'm doing too much apara. Let me come towards para prakriti, and you decide to come for. So that's the way our life is. All our lives are orchestrated in such a way that we are oscillating between para and apara prakriti. And a lot of the decisions that we make are based on the three gunas. So let me explain to you and introduce you to the concept of the three gunas, and we will understand what exactly are these three gunas. The three gunas, according to the Bhagavad Gita, are Sattva, Rajagun, and Tamagun. Though it seems to be a very simple concept, it is not that simple, because this little concept that we are discussing now, it actually can decide what is the destination of your life. I'll just give you a simple example. Suppose something has just happened in your life. Some action has just happened in your life, okay? Whatever action it could be. Now, whatever the action is, there is a response you give to that action, isn't it? Like, say, for example, you just lost a job. Just for example, something has happened, action has happened. Now, there is going to be a way you respond to that action, isn't it? That's called response. And based on how you respond, there will be a reaction, isn't it? There will be something that will happen. Or, for example, somebody has just given you a very bad insult. Just somebody has really insulted you. Action has happened. And now, how you respond to that action, based on that, there is a reaction waiting, isn't it? every one of us will respond differently to the same thing that happens in our life. For example, one of our devotees, he was out distributing books on the streets. I'm sure you must have seen a lot of devotees on the streets the whole of December, right? So one devotee was distributing books on the street, and he met a man who was probably frustrated, angry, whatever. And when this devotee kept asking him, can you please take a Bhagavad Gita? This guy got really irritated and he spat on him. Now, if somebody spits on you, how would you react? How would you respond? The different of us will respond differently, isn't it? Somebody might say, this is too much, I'm going to police. Somebody might say, why I should go to police? I will only slap him, Somebody might give a bad word. Somebody might spit back at that person. Now, depending on what your guna is, you will react differently. Somebody might just go into depression. Might think, I'll never ever go back again on the street to distribute books. You understand? That's called a response. And whatever your response is, there is a reaction waiting. If you slap back that person, now you think that person is going to keep quiet? It's going to be a big scene. It's going to be a big chaos, isn't it? If you spit on that person, you think that person is going to keep quiet? There's going to be another reaction coming up, isn't it? So everything that happens in our life, the way we respond to it, there is a reaction waiting for us. The question is, how we respond to it. How we respond to it is not decided by you. That's what the Gita is trying to say. When Krishna says, Prakrite kriyamanani gune karmani sarvasaha ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. Iti manyate means what? Karta means what? Karta means doer. Aham means I. I am the doer. And what is Krishna says? Kartaham iti manyate. Iti manyate means I think I am the doer. The response that I give, I think it is based on my free will. But Krishna is saying, actually, free will is not so free. All the choices you make are not your choices. So if it is not my choice, who is choosing? That's why Krishna says, Prakrite kriyamanani gune karmani sarvashaha. Gune karmani sarvashaha. Gune means the three modes, gunas. Karmani means the gunas make you do. Somebody who is in the mode of goodness has clear choices. Somebody who is in the mode of passion has blurred choices. Somebody who is in the mode of ignorance does not have choices. So some people, like say for example, just to give you an example, let's choose to look at it purely from the animal kingdom point of view, right? There's a difference between the way animal kingdom works and the way humans work and the way plants work, right? Plants are primarily governed by the concept of hunger. They just feel hungry and they absorb, right? They are governed by hunger. Animals are a little more evolved than plants. They are governed by not just hunger, they are also governed by fear. Have you seen plants being fearful? Plants have no fear only. You will not see plants responding. Even if a ghost comes and scares them, plants will respond. Ghosts stay on them all the time, So plants don't have a concept of fear. But do you see fear in animals? If you see, dogs, the way they respond, when you go towards them, or birds, or any animal for that, even tigers and lions, they have fear, isn't it? So animals are primarily governed by hunger as well as fear. But human beings are governed by hunger, fear, and desire. They have one more thing added to it. So when we make decisions, when we are making choices, our choices are not necessarily only governed by fear. Our choices are also governed by desires. Why do different people choose differently? Animals in one sense don't have desires. Have you seen a tiger thinking, oh, I desire momos today, I have a desire to eat ice cream, They don't have a concept of desire. The animals don't have a concept of it. They are governed by instincts. They are governed by fear and they are governed by hunger. But human beings are governed along with fear and hunger. They are also governed by desires, and that is why every Sunday we're choosing which new restaurant to go to, what new delicacies to explore. So it's not only about hunger. It's not about just eating something. It's about choosing things, right? So that choice that you make is governed by what is called as free will, and that free will is governed by the three modes. So now that I've explained to you how our mind works, I'm now going to talk to you about how these three modes work. These three modes are very powerful concepts, and they are almost like three different um, mindsets. They are almost like three different ways of looking at life. Just like if you wear a specs that has a yellow color lens on it, yellow color glasses on it, what will you see? You will see everything yellow, isn't it? If I see this painting, the cow will not look white, it will look yellow. It's not going to look white. The wall is not going to look white, it's going to look more yellow. But if I wear a pink color glass, when I look at it, it will start looking all pink. If I wear a green color glass, when I look at it through it, it will all seem green, isn't it? So a lot of us, our vision and the way we look at life itself is colored. We think we are seeing clearly, but actually we are not seeing clearly. We are seeing through the lenses of the gunas. Somebody who is in the mode of passion can only see certain colors. Somebody who is in the mode of goodness can see certain colors. And somebody who is in the mode of ignorance can see certain colors. When I'm saying colors, what does it mean? Does it really mean colors? It means ways of looking at things. It means the way our vision is created, the way we prioritize things. A person in the mode of goodness, he has more freedom to act. A person in the mode of goodness, he has freedom from sinful reactions. A person in the mode of goodness, he acts out of knowledge. So when I'm saying this person has more freedom to act, what does it mean? The person who is in Sattva Gun, that person is a little more freer because of the choices that he has already made. Those choices govern the way you look at life. Sattvic lifestyle is a lifestyle which is more conducive for one's spiritual practice. Sattvic lifestyle is a lifestyle which makes you look at life a little more broader. The more you go towards passion and ignorance, your framework becomes more narrower. Sattvagun is not completely free. It's not that somebody in Sattvagun is completely free. But somebody in Sattvagun is more freer than one in Rajagun and Tamagun. Rajagun binds you. It makes your choices lesser. Tamagun makes your choices even lesser. Like say for example, somebody who is in Sattvagun has a choice to drink Coke, water or liquor. If you go in a flight, for example, they ask you, what do you want to drink? Sattvagun person has a little more choice. He can either choose, I'll say I'm good with water. He can say I'll take a juice, or he can say I can take some liquor. Somebody in Rajagun, water and juice goes away, or probably water goes away at least. He'll say choose between juice and the two aerated drinks, Coke and Pepsi and Sprite, or hard drinks. But somebody who's a Tamagun, his choice is between which type of hard drink to drink. For him, water and juices don't exist only. If you see, the choices are becoming narrower and narrower, isn't it? So the more gunas, so the deeper you go into tama, the lesser choices you have. And the more you are in sattva, the more choices you have. Life is very interesting because ultimately the more you have choices, the better you can live life, isn't it? If you have restricted choices, then the life also becomes very restricted, isn't it? And that is why the mode of goodness is considered to be most liberating and most freeing. Person in the mode of passion is governed by unlimited desires and unlimited longings. Now, who is more free? Somebody who is driven by desire or somebody who has more control over desire? Obviously, somebody who has more control over desire, isn't it? So, suppose you have strong urge towards eating particular food. Now, if you are in sattva, you can think and say, hey, this is not good for me. This is not healthy for me. But the more you go towards passion, you will be pushed towards eating it because you don't have a sense of saying no. You don't have the ability to say no. So that means the more you have the ability to say no, the more sattvic you are. And the more you have the ability to say, less you have the ability to say no, the more you are moving towards rajas, right? Think about your own food habits. Suddenly you get a craving. I want to eat this. Now, how much are you able to say no to it, and how much you end up opening Zomato or Swiggy? It depends. You can yourself see it. Now, of course, like 5 years back, maybe when none of these platforms existed, it was a little more difficult. You have to actually step out of the house and go somewhere and go and eat it. Now with all these, instant delivery stuff, it's so much more difficult, and it actually shows you which mode you are in. It actually shows you which mode is governing you. And the more you go towards tama, the lesser your ability to say no comes. So rajas is born out of desire and longings, and it is bound towards material fruitive actions. Sattva binds you towards more pious actions. Somebody who is in sattva, the choices that person will make of holiday destinations will be, let me go on yatras. Let me go to places that are more scenic and quiet. Let me go to places where there is less noise and less crowd. Let me go into something that is more nature oriented. That's the kind of choices somebody in sattva will make. Somebody in raja will choose Las Vegas, Thailand, places like that which are driven, which is high level, New York, high levels of passion. You get down in these cities, you have to run. Hong Kong, crazy levels of passion. So the choice of places where you will go also depends on what mode you are in. You leave a person who is in high rajas in a place like Govardhan, or some place like some very sattvic place, like Shirangam, for example. The guy will go mad. He will say, "What nonsense! This is." You understand, right? Inside the person will just go crazy because he's just not fit in. You leave a sattvic person in a place which is rajas filled, he will go crazy. He'll just feel suffocated in that atmosphere. So what guna you are, that guna will determine where you are comfortable, which place you're comfortable. Somebody in tamagun, you leave that person in a pub, that guy will stay there forever. I know a friend of mine who wouldn't get up from bed for 22 hours. Non-stop, 22 hours he could be on bed, sleep, eat, drink, everything on the bed. 22 hours straight. Now what do you think which guna is in? No prize for guesses. This is high tama, isn't it? So somebody who's in sattva gun cannot stay on bed for beyond 6 o'clock in the morning. Not possible only for somebody in sattva gun to stay on bed after 6 in the morning. Because sattva just pushes you towards sunrise, pushes you towards, being, taking advantage of that early morning time. Tamas pushes you towards activity at night. Somebody on Tamagun, he'll become very active after sunset. Eyes will become bright, energy levels will be highest, and really so much. After 9:30 in the night, somebody in Sattva Gun, he will automatically feel like sleeping. Don't want to have conversations, don't want to engage in any discussions and meetings, don't want to do any activity, don't want to go out. But somebody in Tamas, that is when they become alive. As soon as sun sets, all the energy comes out. That's pure tamas, right? Somebody who's in passion, most active in the middle of the day, 8 a.m. to 3, 4 p.m. Very, very active. And you look at them, you wonder, oh my God, what kind of energy they have. That's high tamas, high rajas, basically. So even the time of the day which influences you the most, where you are most energetic, determines which guna you are in. Somebody who is a sattva gun, they are highly energetic during the morning hours. 4 a.m. to 9 or 10 a.m. Super high energies. Somebody who's in rajas, at that time, no energy. You awake a person, Arey, get up. As if they are dead, practically. Somebody in tamas, that time only they go to sleep. After 6 o'clock in the morning, they feel deepest level of sleep. They just feel so comfortable. This is my, sleep time. And then 7 o'clock in the evening, they become active. Somebody in sattva is exactly opposite. 7 o'clock in the evening, they become passive. They completely go to sleep. And early in the morning, they get up. So if you see, all these choices that we're making, you go to a mall, what clothes attract you shows which mood you are in. Automatically goes towards jeans pant. Understand? Rajas is very active in you, right? Automatically, if you go towards, saris and, dhoti kurta, this kind of very sattvic type of clothes, you know that, sattva guna is active in you. Even which shop you go into shows which mode you are in. Some people cannot enter into, places like Fab India or too much sattvic. What nonsense. So you understand that's not going to work for you because that mode is not active inside you. You will not be comfortable in choosing certain type of clothes, right? The same person who's in Tamagun, you go and see what kind of clothes they choose. Colors. Look at the colors of clothes they choose. Look at the things that are written on the t-shirts that they choose. One guy is wearing a t-shirt, save water, drink beer. Who will wear such a t-shirt? Who will wear such a t-shirt? Tell me. Obvious the choice that you have made, isn't it? That's obvious which guna you are a part of. If somebody wears a t-shirt that says, "Don't disturb me," already disturbed. You understand what mode is going on, isn't it? Now even the choice of wordings on your t-shirt show you what guna you are in. Every single thing that you do in your life is influenced by the gunas. What type of movie you go to watch? It shows which guna you're in. How many people go to watch Maha-Narsingh movie, Narsingh Avatar? Of course, sometimes in hype also people go and end up watching, without understanding what they're watching. But I'm talking about sustaining that, that desire. Sustaining that particular type of desire to watch that particular type of genre or read that particular type of genre of books or hear that kind of talks, that sustainable type of thing is what shows which guna you're in. Music. What kind of music that you prefer? How many people prefer kirtan? How many people prefer rock and roll, heavy metal? Your head has to split, and that's when you feel I have heard something. Now I remember I was, New Year we were in Nasik in a retreat center, and obviously we went for a New Year retreat, 3-day New Year retreat, and at 9:30 in the night I told all of them go to sleep. They were shocked. New Year retreat we have come. I said, see, New Year means 1st Jan, right? Why 31st night we have to be awake like booths, And we went to sleep at 9:30 in the night. We got up at Mangalarti 4:30 in the morning, right? Because we wanted to start New Year on an auspicious note. But the other guys who were in that retreat, in that resort, my God, the kind of music that was going on, our windows were rattling. That kind of music, literally, windows were rattling all night long. And in the morning, at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, when I got down and saw the whole place, such a mess. Absolutely, it seemed like 10 wild elephants have come and run all over the place. So much of kachra and so much of dirt, absolutely messed up. That shows what kind of celebration you have, isn't it? After your celebration, how you leave the place, it very much shows what type of celebration has happened. Has it been a Sattva celebration, Rajagun celebration, or Tamagun celebration? Right? A lot of unfortunate situations. Even in our own festivals, if you see, many festivals in India, it's supposed to be Vedic festivals. At the end of the festival, the kind of mess that is created, it's so much tamas at the end of the whole thing. That is not a sign of a Sattvagun festival. That is not a sign of a Sattvagun festival. A Sattvagun festival at the end of it must create more good than chaos. Sattvagun festival should create more satisfaction in the hearts. It should create more goodwill. In our traditional festivals, if you see, families would come together, good quality food would be made. You all sit together, wear nice clothes, eat nice food, talk, beautiful harikatha, and have beautiful discussions. And all go back home with the hearts full and hearts satisfied, isn't it? Now look at what happens in festivals. Now look at the chaos that happens in any festival. Look at the kind of celebrations that happen. It doesn't lead to satisfaction of the heart. It leads to more of disturbance. It leads to more of unsettled mind than anything else. And that really shows what our mode is in. So the kind of choices, so practically, as I said, every single thing in your life, the kind of books that you pick up, which book will you pick up? Which author you prefer reading? What kind of genre you prefer reading? It shows what mode you are in. Some people, the moment they pick up Bhagavad Gita, they fall asleep. Sometimes spiritual books are very good because it gives you good deep sleep. And I can tell you, so many devotees have told me that. I don't know what happens. The moment we start reading Prabhupada's books, we get such deep sleep. Ideally, when you read Prabhupada's books, you should be awakened. You shouldn't. You should be so excited and so enthusiastic, and you should feel, wow, now I've really discovered what to do in life. It should awaken you. But unfortunately, because we are in Tamagun, Rajagun, it puts us to sleep. It's not the fault of the book. It's not the fault of what is written. It is our inability to handle that information because the guna we are in. At the same time, you read a book which is crime thriller. Will you fall asleep? Till all night long people stay awake to find out kisne usko mara. Isn't it? Now, what is that so much excitement? What difference it makes in your life? Who killed that fellow? No difference. But that's what passion is. Passion moves you towards being inspired to find out that knowledge that is useless for you. Right? Tamagun is even worse. Reading all kinds of obnoxious literature, finding extreme pleasure in such kind of crazy type of things. So see, ultimately, we have to do an evaluation of our own lives, which mode we are in. And you immediately understand, hey, I am not at all living a lifestyle which is conducive for Sattvagun. And then I ask myself, why am I not attracted by spiritual life? Why am I not inspired to practice spiritual life? Because here it begins only in the wrong premises, right? Because the choices you're making are all based on the guna that you're in. And the guna that you are in is based on the lifestyle that you're in. And that's why you have to start correcting what is called the lifestyle. So, what is spirituality? Spirituality is essentially re-engineering of your lifestyle. Just like in sports, when you play any like say for example, India is playing in World Cup cricket, and where are the greater chances India will win? If it plays on home ground, isn't it? If the World Cup final happens in India, much greater chances India will win. Why? The environment is so conducive for India to win, isn't it? That's the kind of, so home ground makes a very big difference. Similarly, in spirituality, there is something called home ground, that in which spirituality works best. And I'll tell you four simple things which you can begin with to set your context right, to begin the journey of moving towards sattva, begin the journey of moving towards re-engineering your life for being a sattvic life. Simple four things: sleep, diet, cleanliness, and meditation. Just these four things you can focus on to begin with. Sleep. What time do you sleep and what time do you get up? That determines a lot about which guna you will prioritize. From the beginning, if you really want to develop sattva guna very intensely in your life, try sleeping early. It is not going to be easy in the beginning, but it will require re-engineering of your life. What is the meaning of re-engineering? Simply begin by sleeping 1 hour earlier than what you're used to sleeping. So suppose you're used to sleeping at 12 o'clock. Start sleeping at 11 to begin with. Till a point you come where you can sleep at 9:30. See, for you to be able to sleep, you need something called sleep pressure, right? Sleep pressure is something that is very important for us to fall asleep. What is sleep pressure? I'm sure all of you have felt it, right? It's an irresistible pressure that comes in your mind that says, I want to sleep. A lot of people feel intense sleep pressure during lectures. High level of sleep pressure. That is induced. Don't go by that. But I'm talking about sleep pressure that comes at night when you really feel like sleeping, right? A lot of people have felt that sleep pressure, but they have neglected it. So when you neglect it for a particular point of time, then the sleep pressure goes away. Then eventually it doesn't come so easily. So sleep pressure is very important for you to be able to sleep on time. And if you have a sattvic lifestyle, if you have a very regulated lifestyle, you will feel sleep pressure at the exact same time every day. Exact same time you will feel it. The body will actually start giving you all kinds of symptoms that you need to go to sleep now. If you feel that sleep pressure after 9 p.m. in the night, you are very, very fortunate. That means your lifestyle is very conducive for spiritual life. If you start feeling the sleep pressure after 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock in the night, which means you have to really reorient your life. So my suggestion would be, please start monitoring your sleep. Spiritual life begins there, literally. Why I'm telling you that you should monitor your sleep? Because early morning time, say before 8 a.m., right? That's the golden hour of our life. That's literally the golden hour. Why before 8 a.m. I'm saying? After 8 a.m. only alarms start ringing, messages start coming, our phone starts becoming active, and people all start becoming active. Very, very, Rajagun starts after that. Till 8 a.m., you will not receive messages, literally. Hardly you will find any phone calls, hardly any messages will come, hardly any kind of, active things will happen. Am I right? Till 8 a.m. So that's the golden hour of your life. Unfortunately, most people spend the golden hour on bed. That's where the problem lies. If you are spending, a lot of people don't see sunrise only, unfortunately. If you're not seeing sunrise on a daily basis, something is really wrong with your spiritual life. As simple as that. Every single day, you have to see the sunrise. That's good quality sattva gun, basically. So if you want to see the sunrise, you have to sleep early. As simple as that. Start with that. So if you don't know where to begin spiritual life, start there. Start getting a control of your sleep time. So try your best in such a way that you can wake up before sunrise. Now, what to do after waking up after sunrise, that I'll tell you all. But right now, at least start waking up. A lot of people are wondering, अरे इतना जल्दी उठ के क्या करना है? बहुत कुछ है. There is a lot of things you can do. But first get up na. If you don't get up only, then what will you do? You know? So that early morning time is the golden hour. Please try your best to get up before sunrise, right? So that's the first thing. So if you want to get up before sunrise, means you have to sleep early. You cannot get up before sunrise unless you have slept early. You get a sufficient 7 to 8 hours of good quality sleep. I'm saying 7 to 8 hours. Today, it has become very heroic to say I sleep less. But it's actually foolishness to sleep less. Especially those who are working in the corporate world, they take great pride in saying I did an overnight, This is all stupidness. It is not at all a matter of pride. It is all stupidness. Over a period of time, the body collapses. Nobody is spared. One night loss of sleep, it takes the body 1 year to recover. This is not me speaking. This is not Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam speaking. This is science. And you can go and verify it, with sleep scientists. 1 year it takes for the body to recover that one night loss of sleep. You can imagine how many nights we have to recover, We are practically in sleep deficit. So please sleep early so that you get 7 to 8 hours of good quality sleep. And then you get up early. This one habit of waking up early will redefine everything for you in your life. You will actually have more time for reading. You'll actually have more time for chanting. You'll actually have more time for so many things. Exercise, walks. So many things in your life can simply change if you do this one habit of waking up early. I have been waking up at about 4:30 for almost 2-3 decades now. And I can tell you this one single habit that I have developed in my life has helped me more than any other habit that I have developed. I have been able to achieve so much in my life simply because of this one habit of waking up early. If there's one single habit that can redefine your entire life, it is this one. Please get a control of your sleep. That's the first thing that you can do to develop a more sattvic, re-engineered lifestyle. Second thing that you can do to develop a more sattvic, re-engineered lifestyle is get a hang of what you're eating. Who you are depends on what you eat. I'm not saying don't eat tasty food, but I'm just saying be mindful of what you eat. Because what you eat determines a lot about your consciousness. It determines a lot about what is going on in your mind. And as much as possible, try to eat food that is home cooked. The more you have control over your food, which is cooked at home, there is more control over your thoughts. Albert Einstein spoke about something called as a very interesting theory. I'm sure all of you all know of this two types of natures, particle nature and wave nature, right? Science talks about it all the time. So there are two types of natures, this particle and waves. Everything can be converted from particle to wave and wave to particle. They are all interchangeable. Like I'll just to help you understand. For example, right now this camera is recording. I am in particle nature, right? I have a physical form. Now when the camera records whatever I'm speaking and the image, it converts from particle nature into a wave nature. And now this goes on YouTube. And in YouTube, it is in wave nature, practically. So when it's transmitted on the internet, it's all wave. But finally, when that image or the transmission, which is wave, gets played on a phone, then that wave again converts into particle and you can see it. So that's how the natures gets converted, particle to wave, wave to particle. What happens in cooking is something very interesting. The person who is cooking, he or she has some thoughts. Those thoughts are waves. And when they're cutting the sabji, those thoughts enter into the vegetable. So somebody is cutting a potato thinking that I want to cut this fellow's neck, that thought is going to enter into the potato. You don't know who is cooking with what thoughts, isn't it? Now, you have no control over the environment in which certain hotels, certain restaurants, certain people who are cooking, they operate, isn't it? But when that food you consume, you're thinking, wow, it's so tasty and all that. The particle feels tasty, but along with that particle, the waves that go in, when they enter into your brain, that's when you start having some weird type of thoughts. Suddenly, you will experience anger. Suddenly, you'll experience emotions that are not exactly in your control. Suddenly, you'll experience, you know, disturbed in a mind. So many things. It's all simply because of the kind of food that you eat. So please get a control of where you eat from. So the more you are having a home atmosphere and people who are loving, people whom you have trust, people who you have faith, people whom you know on a personal level cooking whatever you're eating, the more it is regulated, the more you have control over the thoughts that enter into your mind. Typically, you know who is cooking for you, isn't it? Your parents or your loved ones. Even if there is a cook that is cooking, but you know the person, right? You have a relationship with the person. You understand the kind of thoughts that is going on in the person's mind. If the person is very disturbed, you also know it, and you can help the person deal with the disturbance, isn't it? But if somebody is cooking for you whom you don't know at all, how do you have control? So, as much as possible in 30 days of your month, at least 20-25 days, if you have control over who is cooking for you, who is that's why if you see Srila Prabhupada, he traveled always with his cook. He had a cook that he trained himself. And therefore, only that person is allowed to cook for Srila Prabhupada. Why these great personalities are having very controlled diet, and not just controlled diet, the person who's cooking also is controlled. Simply because the person's thoughts enter into your mind. So try your best to have food that is sattvic, which is in your control, and especially in an atmosphere cooked in an atmosphere which is conducive for you. That determines a lot about sattva gun. Also, the kind of food itself. If you eat food that is spicy when it goes in and spicy when it comes out, and all holes of your body are emanating fumes, that's high rajas. And that is also going to lead to passionate thoughts. That is also going to lead to a lot of high driven thoughts. And tamas is food that is, I know people who cook once, 1 week they're eating same food, preheated. उसको just cook करो, गरम करो खाओ. Once in a week they cook. Now imagine what harm you're doing to your consciousness. So that the Bhagavad Gita talks about 3 hours. 3 hours. If you study, if you read this chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada says, ideally, food should be consumed within 3 hours of being cooked. Hare Krishna. How many of us can even reach those standards? Impossible, isn't it? Okay, fine. We are not there at that level. Whatever our situation is, we are not at that level. But at least let us reach to a point which is easier for us to handle, isn't it? And that's what the whole idea of trying to reach sattva guna is. So the more you have food which is sattvic in nature, sattvic food is wholesome. Sattvic food is not dry. Sattvic food is satisfying to the heart. When you eat sattvic food, after eating it, you feel, wow, I'm feeling nourished. I'm feeling peaceful, satisfied in my mind. Especially if you go to some places like South India and all, they have this traditional cooking that happens. And I remember a few days back, I had to visit South India for a particular situation, and I was eating food cooked by Shri Vaishnava Brahmanas and served on a banana leaf, and the number of items that were served that day almost close to about 20 items. 20 items. After eating, of course, we ate in whatever quantity we ate, but after eating, I really felt, wow, so satisfied in the mind, right? not from the only purely from the point of view of taste and how it was, but from the point of view of just feeling good about eating this food. And the best thing is, after eating so much, no indigestion, not no problem at all. I mean, I've eaten probably that one meal was more than I ate in years probably. No problem at all. That's sattva gun, basically. So try eating food that is in that way. The third thing is cleanliness. People in Rajagun and Tamagun don't understand what cleanliness is to begin with. Walk into your rooms and see what it feels. See how it is. I'll give you some simple examples. Someone in Sattvagun cannot bear to see bed sheets that are crumpled and there. Cannot bear it. After getting up, after using your bedspreads and bed sheets and all, somebody in Sattvagun needs it to be tidy. Somebody in Rajagun and Rajagun, it's okay, it remains like that for hours together. Somebody in Tamagun, it will be like that only till next day when you go back to sleep, and then you continue for many, many days. And finally one day somebody is coming aboard, or then you think of cleaning, if at all. Or even worse, lock that door. Simple. Nobody will see your mess. Isn't it? Simply walk into the house of somebody who is in Sattvagun, you will understand. This is high level of Sattvagun. Simply walk into a house of somebody who is in Rajagun, you understand. High level of Raja. Simply walk into the house of somebody in Tamagun, you understand. High level of Tama. Not just in the way the house is, the room is. It's in the way you yourself are as a person. I know people who don't have a bath for 7 days. Puss. Perfumes. I see they're smelling so nice. What are you hiding behind that nice smell? You're hiding something that is obnoxious, isn't it? Sattva gun, the way you are as a person, it manifests in your cleanliness. It's not just physical cleanliness, it's also mental cleanliness. The kind of thoughts you have towards other people, the kind of words that you use towards other people, the kind of ideas that you get, everything, the kind of desires you have. Cleanliness is not just physical always. Cleanliness is also mental. So when we say try to become more sattvic in your cleanliness habits, it means both physical and mental, internal and external cleanliness. That's why Srila Prabhupada always wanted all his temples to be spotlessly clean. He said when people look on the floor, they should be able to see their own reflection. That's how clean our temple should be. And if you go to ISKCON, anywhere around the world in ISKCON, you'll see that level of cleanliness, right? I mean, it's so difficult to maintain such a huge structure so clean. But ISKCON temples prioritize it. Most of the ISKCON temples around the world, I've traveled so many places, spotlessly. You can sleep on the floor and you can be rest assured your clothes won't get dirty. You can just literally sleep on the floor. So that's how clean our lifestyle should be, and our mindset should be, and our places where we reside should be. Simple habits. You can just start with this. The place that you work, the table that you work on, make sure that the table is clean. Everything in place and a place for everything. Simple. Just follow this formula. Everything in place and a place for everything. Start there. Once you get used to cleanliness, it is addictive. It's actually addictive. Somebody who's used to cleanliness cannot handle a paper being thrown in a particular place. It's not OCD, by the way. It is not OCD. It's Sattva. Sattva means that you want things to be in particular place in an organized way. It's Sattva. It's high level of Sattva. Unfortunately today, people think this is OCD. It's not. Sattva gun means cleanliness. That's why it said, cleanliness is next to godliness, right? So please try to create an environment which is clean around you, right? The way you maintain your kitchens, the way you maintain your beds, the way you maintain your study, the way you maintain your house, every aspect of it should radiate Sattva. So the moment you create that kind of an environment in your house, you will automatically develop Sattva gun in your life. And the fourth, a very important thing is meditation, which means that you should have habits that are pushing you towards Sattva Guna. So that means we all should develop good habits. Chanting is the supreme most of all of them. Every single day, we must chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Now, somebody might think that how is chanting connected with Sattva Guna? How is meditation connected with Sattva Guna? Sattva is a mindset that declutters. Somebody who's in sattvic mindset, their mind is decluttered. And that's what meditation primarily does for us. The moment you meditate, the moment you get into any state of meditation, whether it is chanting of mantras, whether it is chanting of prayers, whether it is pranayam, whether it is sitting and doing dhyana, any form of meditation that is very, very inspiring to you, you must engage in every single day. Especially the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra is something that you must do on daily basis. The chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra not only takes us towards Sattva Guna, it takes us towards Shuddha Sattva. Shuddha Sattva is much higher than Sattva Guna. Sattva Guna is still in this world, in this material world. The problem is Sattva Guna, there are, Tamaguna and Rajaguna, we have seen many problems are there, but Sattva Guna also has its own set of problems. The problem with Sattva Guna is that people are so satisfied, they don't want to do anything beyond that. I know sattvic people, you tell them, chant Hare Krishna. So why? I'm doing such good things. Why should I chant? My life is so nice. I'm clean. My surrounding is clean. I eat clean food. Everything is so nice. Why do I need to do anything more? So the problem with Sattva Guna is that people get attached to Sattva and they don't want to rise further. And that's one of the problems with a lot of people in India who are in Sattva Guna. Because they feel everything is perfect in my life. Why do I need to add Hare Krishna mantra to it? Why do I need to chant Hare Krishna mantra? I'm already doing so many nice things. I'm doing so many things good for society. I'm doing so many things good for my family. I'm doing so many things. I'm having such nice habits. I'm not doing any harm to anybody. That's fine. That's Sattva. But we need to rise beyond Sattva. Spiritual life is to go above Sattva. Why we need to go above Sattva? Because even Sattva binds us in this world. How does Sattva bind us in this world? Sattva binds us because to enjoy the good of Sattva, we need to come back again. Just like if we live a very sattvic life, very pious life, you get a lot of good reactions, right? Good action. They're all good actions. Doing charity, doing tapasya, doing all of these are good actions. So when you do good actions, you'll get a good reaction to it. So somebody who has lived all life in Sattva, they will have to come back to enjoy the Sattva. So next life, you will get birth in a family that is very pious. But the problem is that you will get another birth again. So therefore, spiritual Gita inspires us to go beyond Sattva, beyond the three gunas. How do you go beyond Sattva? The way to go beyond Sattva is by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. The Hare Krishna Mahamantra is not Sattvic. It is Shuddha Sattva. It's beyond Sattva. So it not only pulls you from Raja and Tamas towards Sattva, but eventually takes you beyond Sattva also. And that is why we need to include the Hare Krishna Mahamantra in our daily practices. So when you get up in the morning, I said you should get up in the morning. What do you do getting up in the morning? Engage in meditation in those practices that are conducive for Sattva Guna. So therefore, early in the morning, we must always engage in spiritual practices that are pro-Sattva. Like for example, don't get up in the morning and start using your phone and watching reels. That is not the purpose of getting up in the morning. Don't get up in the morning and read newspaper. That is not the purpose of getting up in the morning. Don't get up in the morning and watch a Netflix serial saying that, I now have so much time I have, let me watch a movie. That's not the purpose of getting up in the morning. Might as well sleep. The purpose of getting up in the morning is to use that time to promote those kind of activities that are pro-Sattva. And of them, meditation, chanting, dhyana, or reading scriptures, hearing things. So like when I get up in the morning, the first thing I do, the moment I get up in the morning, I turn on a lecture for my obeisances, and I thank Krishna for giving me another day, and After I get up, while I'm having a bath or while I'm doing all my morning rituals, I'm hearing a lecture. By the time I'm dressed up and by the time I wear my tilak and I'm ready for chanting, I've almost heard a good half an hour, 20 minutes of good lecture early in the morning. Begins with Sattva, basically. And then that lecture or whatever I've heard, I already select what I'm going to hear in the previous night only. And that what I hear, it inspires me to chant better. It inspires me to do my spiritual practice better, and then I engage in my spiritual practice for good, till 7:30 I'm chanting and doing my sadhana nicely. And so by the time I finish my 16 rounds of chanting, I've already heard some lecture, I've done a little bit of pranayam, I've done at least one prayer I've offered, and I've chanted 16 rounds of my Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So practically by 7:30, by the time most people get up, my morning sadhana is only completed. Every day, 7:30, I'm done with my 16 rounds. Most people say we don't have time only for it. We don't have time for chanting 16 rounds. By 7 o'clock, we are done with our 16 rounds, isn't it? So that is the effect of planning well. If you plan well, if you organize your life which is to be pro sattva, you will have a lifestyle that is really, really good. After 7 o'clock, I go for a walk. The morning walks, they clear my mind a lot. See, just walking in nature, it's such a sattvic habit. Just walking in nature. Without your phones, without anything, just go for a walk. And I'll tell you, when you go for a walk, you should always carry a paper and pen with you in your pocket. I always do that. I carry a paper and pen with me in my pocket. When I go for a walk, I get thoughts. And, and I don't even know how I get these thoughts. It just comes. And whenever you get these good thoughts, write them down. These are gifts of Krishna to you. These are gifts of Paramatma to you. And these thoughts actually help you a lot in your personal life. Unfortunately, most of us don't monitor our thoughts. Don't monitor what's going on in our minds. Some good thoughts are worth noting down because these are not your thoughts. These are Paramatma. Especially when you are close to nature, these thoughts come. These sattvic thoughts come. So it's a very good habit to just walk for half an hour, 45 minutes. Just go for a walk. Not only from a health point of view, but also from a mental health point of view. And then I come back and do exercise. Then I'm ready for the day. Then by the time the phone starts ringing and all those messages start coming and all the action starts, I am done. I have had a good, morning sadhana basically. And that's the kind of, ritual that really helps you, not just. So for me, this is not anymore something that I have to force myself to do. This is something that I look forward to. This is something that has become so much an integral part of me. If I miss it, I feel something is wrong. And that is what Sattvagun does to you. Sattvagun pushes you towards a lifestyle that is not just useful to you, not just helpful to you, but something that you begin to love. And once you begin to love it, nothing else, will be that inspiring. For me to say no to an evening, a gathering or evening social thing, it doesn't matter to me because I have something more important in the morning waiting for me, isn't it? And that is how we need to reorient and re-engineer our lifestyle. So if you simply do these 4 things, I can assure you, very soon you will develop Sattvagun, and that Sattvagun will help you in every single aspect of your life, every single decision of your life. And when some action happens and you respond because you are, influenced, your free will is influenced by Sattva, then after that response, the reaction that comes, that reaction will also change your destiny. And that is how, just by simply choosing Sattvagun, you are reorienting and re-engineering your destiny also. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Any questions, comments, any discussions, please? All good? Yes.
Probably I am trying to get up early morning, but then what happens in the afternoon, I need to sleep. And then again the next day, it becomes a cycle. Because I sleep in the afternoon, I sleep late at night, then again I damage it.
So that's, see, that is why you need to monitor it. See, the problem with us is that we go to extremes. When we sleep in the afternoon, you sleep only for 2-3 hours, So that unmonitored type of sleeping is not good. You see, when you feel the pressure to sleep, you should sleep. Definitely, the body needs it, but you should have what is called a snap. Snap means short nap. It should actually be short. If you make it 2 hours, then definitely it's going to affect your night, right? So just make sure, it's not that you don't sleep at all. You sleep, but you monitor it. So half an hour, 1 hour, it's just whatever it is, you just put a stop at it. So the moment you monitor it now, it will not affect your night. Okay. Yes.
Generally, we try to live like sattvic lives, but sometimes it, like, you feel very bored also, very honestly. Like, you're attracted to maybe watching some sports, or you're attracted to, listening to something which is not like sattvic, it's more entertainment. So, what does that mean if, you're just not like, you find yourself just getting very bored on days and you feel that you just need to add some spark or something to just, get some more life?
Okay.
So, what does that mean?
See, sattva doesn't mean that there is no rajas and tamas. Every one of us are a combination of all three. There is going to be sattva, there is going to be rajas, there is going to be tamas. All three are going to exist in all of us. Sattva doesn't mean boring life, but the rajas and tamas has to be regulated. It cannot be unregulated. Like for example, playing sports is not wrong. It's not that sattva person doesn't play sports or doesn't engage in exercise, doesn't want entertainment. It's not like that. It's just that it's conscious entertainment. So when you become conscious, see, today's entertainment wants you to become unconscious. That's where the problem is. So when you choose to watch a movie, for example, what movie are you watching? Is it promoting sattva or is it promoting rajas? That's the question that you have to ask. There's no problem in watching a movie. There's no problem in hearing music. There's no problem in reading books. The question is it against the lifestyle that you're trying to choose? Is it against the value systems that you're trying to choose? Is it against the kind of mindset that you want to develop in your life? So if it is against, then definitely you have to be conscious, right? But if it is pro, then it's fine. Then it's fine, isn't it? Unfortunately, today's entertainment is mindless. A lot of it is quite mindless, isn't it? Entertainment should not disturb you. It shouldn't cause more disturbance to you than entertainment should be light. It should be something that you enjoy, but at the same time, it's not adding stress to your life. Today, there's so many the kind of entertainment that is there. It adds so much stress to your life, isn't it? And there's a movie that comes, it ends at a cliffhanger, and you're wondering till the next movie comes, what happened to that fellow? So much stress added to your life, isn't it? So the moment you have entertainment that is adding more stress to your life rather than actually, relieving you of stress, it's not a very good quality of entertainment. So I feel that you should monitor, you should be mindful of what type of entertainment you choose. Srila Prabhupada said, for devotees, there are certain sports that he encouraged. Swimming is one of them, and so many things that devotees can engage in. There are so many sports that devotees can engage in, which is for good health, which is for improving concentration, which is for improving your physical existence, basically, which is fine, not a problem. So entertainment that is not against sattva gun, it's not a problem at all. Okay. Anything else? Yeah. So we'll chant one round of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra together. So I hope all of you all have got your beads.